This video is directed at all the people who have either not gone to formal classes or it's been quite a while. Just want to go over all the safety rules, and to my limited audience of people that might have never gone to a class or gotten formal training or heard of these safety rules before, I'm going to go over that. It's kind of a drop in the bucket of YouTube videos on safety rules, but I'm going to give you the safety rules I was taught in the Marine Corps and kind of talk about that. But I want to start by saying a short little statement that it seems like nobody else is really talking about. And you, as a new gun owner, or as a gun owner in general, you no longer possess the luxury. You no longer possess the luxury of forgetting or not being aware of yourself and others when it pertains to firearms. Everything you do, from shooting off your mouth or your actions, could have a legal consequence. And that could actually affect not only you, but your family as well, and those that you care about. And it could affect them physically, because if you are incompetent and you are negligent and you just forget, or you didn't know, or you weren't aware, then you could cost the life of someone that you care about. So that could absolutely ruin your life. So again, you do not have the luxury of forgetting, and you do not have the luxury of just not being aware or not knowing. You better know, you better be aware, and you better remember. This is the start of it. So, number one, treat every weapon as if it is loaded. I don't care if you check the status of the weapon, and this whole thing of know the status of your weapon, I don't care what the status is. You will treat it as if it is loaded all of the time. You will not point it randomly in different areas. You will not hand it to a child and let them fondle it just because you unloaded it. You will not take a gun and you will not treat it like it's a toy. And you will not randomly point it or play games with it or think that you're funny. It is not a game. It is a tool that is meant for protection, hunting, and whatever else you could use a firearm for legally. So, keep that in mind. It is not a game. It is not a toy. You will treat every weapon as if it was loaded, even if you know the condition of the firearm. Okay? Alright. Number two, never point your weapon at anything you do not intend to shoot. Now, just because you shoot something does not mean it's destroyed. There is a variation that says, like, don't point at anything not intended to destroy. These aren't phasers. These are firearms. They fire projectiles. And so you're not going to necessarily destroy somebody because you shoot at them. The death rate from firearms is actually pretty low due to like medical stuff, and I think that medical training should be absolutely parallel in importance to gun owners as, you know, getting better at shooting at paper, but that's another video entirely. So if you don't intend to shoot it and pull the trigger on it, don't even point it at it. So that means that at all times, again, treat every weapon as if it was loaded. You do not point your weapon at anybody. So if you have to point your weapon up in the sky, whatever, or point it down, make sure that it's not pointing at anything. So if you were to pull the trigger and it was to go off, it wouldn't actually hit anybody or anything of importance. Every human life matters. So don't point it at a person, don't point it at an animal, don't point it at things that you don't intend to hit. I understand the apartment complex thing where, you know, oh, I might live in an apartment complex and 360 degrees all the way around is unsafe. Well, obviously common sense dictates. That's where the other safety rules come in, kind of help you a little bit. So yes, you are not going to intentionally point it. You will never intentionally point it, and again, you don't have the luxury of forgetting, so you're not going to be pointing at anything you not intend to shoot at. So, safest direction possible, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and get on to the rest of them. This next one is a bit of a long one, but it's very important. Keep your fingers straight and off the trigger until you're ready to fire. Now, there are variations that talk about, you know, making sure your sights are aligned and blah, 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 blah. Having all these things, you know, done before you actually put your finger on the trigger or whatever. That's a little ridiculous because you might actually have to shoot from a position that does not allow you to actually see your sights, and You might have to shoot from the hip. You might have to actually have your gun making a contact shot, as it were. It has happened a lot in close-in fighting, so you don't always have the luxury of sights and stuff like that. So just keep your fingers straight and off the trigger until you're ready to fire. Okay? Which means that you have identified a threat or a target, and that you actually intend to pull the trigger. Until there's intent to pull the trigger, do not put your finger on the trigger. Again, you don't have the luxury of not remembering or not being aware of your actions or people around you. So again, you don't have the luxury of, oh, I forgot. No, that is a number one skill that you need to have, is keeping your finger straight and off the trigger until you are ready to fire. So, number 3 is a big one. Rule number 4 has just as much weight as rule number 3. You will keep your weapon on safe until you intend to fire. So, if you do not intend to actually pull the trigger and you do not intend to actually fire the weapon system at the target or threat or whatever the situation may be, you will keep your weapon on safe. I don't care if you think that you might shoot in the future or whatever, but it will be on safe. Again, you don't have the luxury of forgetting or just for not being aware. You do not have that luxury anymore. You fall into the category of being negligent, and that can have legal or mortal ramifications for people if you do not follow these safety rules. So again, every single rule is important for a reason. So, if you intend to fire, great. Take your weapon off safe and pull the trigger. But it has to be, when you've made the decision to fire, you take your weapon off safe and you pull the trigger. You're going through that sequence, and this is just a process you go through. And once you're done firing, you immediately put that safety on. Okay? Safety to be safe. Alright, last one. Know your target and what lies beyond and in between. You have to have absolute awareness of what is going on around you, and when you decide to engage, whether it's a paper target or somebody in a defense situation or an animal or whatever, you have the responsibility of being aware of your surroundings and the surroundings of your target. You are going to make sure that your shots only hit what you intend to hit. This is absolutely vital. So you will have to have complete awareness. Again, you do not have the luxury of, oh, I didn't know. That's the rule, is know your target. And so you have to have a target. You don't shoot just randomly. Know your target and what lies beyond it. So if the bullet goes through your paper target, is it going to go into a safe direction, or is it going off into the hinterlands and you don't know where it's going? You better know. It's part of the rule. Know your target and what lies beyond it, but also in between it. So know if there's anything moving. I don't care if it's just an empty field. You better know that empty field. That's the rule. Know it. You don't have room for error. You are a gun owner now. You have to take responsibility of yourself and that tool that is in your hand. Okay? So, I hope this video was helpful for you. I hope that you kind of learned something. If you need to go back and learn all these safety rules or write them down, whatever, do what you got to do. It's very important. We're relying on you new gun owners to actually do things right, and having guns can be a fun thing, but you never lose track of your responsibility to be safe. And these are the rules that we, as responsible gun owners, follow. If you don't, you fall into the category of negligence. Don't be that person. Alright, I appreciate you guys watching. Leave a comment below, and you guys have a good one.